Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ruach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and safety to all the Akim out there, pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth, to the four corners of the earth, to the sincere, believers, and the elect out there. Shalom unto you. This is the brother Habadier from the GMS Toronto camp coming back at you with another one. And, this news article is from Al Jazeera about, what's going on over there in Mexico. They killed one of the, a drug lord down there. And, there's chaos. There's chaos. So I'm gonna play this news article, and then get some precepts.
Across vast swathes of Mexico this Sunday, chaos. Convenience stores and petrol stations torched. Trucks dragged across roads and set on fire. Narco roadblocks, they call them here. Plumes of smoke from resort city Puerto Vallarta. Panicked customers running through Guadalajara airport. Flights cancelled. And fear.
Look, now we're scared. We only go out when it's necessary because people don't know whether to go out or what to do.
The reason? Mexico's most powerful drug trafficker was killed by the country's armed forces on Sunday morning. This was his men retaliating. Nemesio Ceguera, alias El Mencho, head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. His organization controls swathes of Mexico, is present in all 50 states of the US, trafficking cocaine and fentanyl, but now it's leaderless. It was a Mexico Special Forces operation with the help of US intelligence. President Trump's demanded more action against the cartels. He got it. They descended on the holiday town of Tapalpa, gravely wounding El Mencho. The army says they airlifted him to hospital, but he died en route, leaving the Mexican government triumphant. But with a question: what comes next? Not the immediate violence, which seemed to be dying at the close of Sunday, but in the weeks and months ahead. We've seen this so many times in Mexico. A leader gets killed or captured, and then a succession battle breaks out that's even bloodier than what came before. And that's an especial worry in the case of El Mencho, because he had such a centralized grip on the cartel and left no direct successor. The Mexican government will now be desperate for its success not to turn into an even bloodier mess. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Mexico City.
Yeah, so there's lots of videos of people on resorts, and you see like stuff burning in the mountains. They're over in Canada, they're urging people you know not to travel over there to Mexico. And this just shows, this just highlights the times that we're gearing up to see, and things like this is going to be, and like things like this is going to be an everyday thing. And it also just shows, man, you can't go anywhere and not and escape you know judgment at the end of the day. Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble is going to be a time like never before seen. So here it is. A lot of people, in Mexico, it's a beautiful place. I personally never been there, but I feel a lot of people go over there, and they say how beautiful it is. But you could be, you could be in these beautiful places, having a good time, and shit could just break out. At the beginning of this clip, it showed the people them running in the airport, So, this is what, this is what we're getting into, these are the times that we're getting into, Jacob's trouble, and you're starting to see it. All these things you're seeing, happen in the news, whether it's ICE or or all these things going on with Jake, the common theme is the tribes. The tribes, are going through it. The northern and the southern tribes are going through it, and we're seeing this, and that just, that's a sign that just points to the time of Jacob's trouble, that we're hitting into. This is Amos 3:6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has not done it? So this is evil time. This is bad. These are bad times. That we're seeing. You know, and there's videos of the looting that's going on. Once and once this type of stuff starts to happen over here on the West, it's going to be magnified. You know, right? Right. It's going on in all these other parts of the world. And yes, it's news, but it's not. It's not. It's not front page like headlines. Once chaos starts, and you're seeing, here it is. A drug lord gets taken out, and all the, you know, all the people are now fighting for power, going up against the police. They're fighting to take position to basically rule the cartel next. But we also know that Esau plays his part in all this shit. you know Esau funds it because Esau wants to see this chaos brew over, so that he could flex his laws, flex his weapons. And this is and these are the type of things that are going to happen over here. These are things that are going to happen in Babylon the Great. It's prophesied. Surely the Lord power will do nothing, but revealeth his secret unto the servants, the prophets. So, we're warning you about these things. We're warning you that this is going to happen. And it's going to happen. Um, you know, Jacob's trouble is going to happen within Jacob's trouble. It's happening now. We're starting to see, Jacob's trouble, um, you know, intensify slowly but surely. You know, Trump talking about, you know, there's a lot of talk that Trump is gonna attack Iran within today or tomorrow. We don't know, but these are the rumors of war. These are the rumors of war, and these are the rumors of war that are gonna lead up into World War III, and ultimately that MOTB. This is Zephaniah 1:14. The great day of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is near. It is near, and it hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. The mighty men shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath and a day of trouble. So, the things, these things that are happening are nothing in compared to, what's going to take place, in the upcoming, whether it's weeks, months. We don't know the exact time, but we know these things are going to happen. We know chaos is going to erupt over here in the North Americas. We know that there's going to be civil war. We know that there's going to be martial law. We know Yahweh Shai is going to crack the clouds, return, with his chariots, and judge this nation. You know, judge Babylon the Great. You know, judge Esau, judge 2/3 of our people. That day is a day of wrath and a day of trouble, of distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick smoke, a day of the trumpet and the alarm against the fenced city and the high tower. So these things are getting ready to happen. And it shows, you can't escape Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You can't. Here it is, people. There hasn't really been any. Haven't really seen any talks about you know, um, like death tolls, or of people vacating over there, and getting caught up in the in this cartel stuff. But it's happening at the end of the day. That's why they're telling people don't go over there to Mexico. There's people over there. There's I seen an article saying there's Canadians that they're trapped. They're trying to leave. They can't leave. Just like the clip that I just played at the damn airport. People at the damn airport, they're scrambling, they're running around. You know, and at the end of the day, this the Lord he's controlling all this. That's why we tell Jake to repent. Turn back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because you don't know when them death angels are gonna be at your front door. You're going on vacation thinking you're about to have a great time, go on the beach, soak up the sun, and all hell could break loose. That's why we gotta be locked in the spirit. Be circumspect. you know this is second Ezra 15 verse 15. For a sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hand. So you have the people down there, you know, fighting amongst each other. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And like I said, what is this trend you're seeing? Over here in America, you had ICE. You had ICE going after the so-called Mexicans. The tribes. You know, um, going after the northern tribes and the southern tribes. The Haitians, the Levites. Benjamin was getting caught up in it. Issachar is getting caught up in it. Then this devil goes down to Venezuela, snatches up their leader. Shit's popping off over there. People are praising Trump for doing it. Meanwhile, there's uproars because there's no leader over there. And now look, now you're in Mexico, and people, they take out the drug lord, and then there's chaos comes out of it. It's just a pattern. It's a pattern that Jacob's trouble. It's gonna happen. Yes, there's other things going on, around the world, but at the end of the day, Jacob, the tribes got to go through it. They got to go through it, or because of their, what was I? I read verse 16 again. For There shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And you know, we see that even in Minnesota, Minneapolis. You know, all the rioting and protesting. You know, people have no respect for ICE because of the way that they're you know going on with their business. And it just the more things start to happen, the more people are gonna want to take matters into their own hands. You know, the more they're gonna lose respect for their government. So these are things that the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, been warning. This is why we do these videos, talk about these articles, talk about the news, because we're warning Jake to repent. Or you're gonna get caught up in this judgment, you know, and you're gonna get caught up in this judgment when you least expect it. Like it says, Yahweh Shai, he's gonna come in like a thief in the night. People ain't gonna see it. People ain't gonna see it coming, and that's just that's the way this judgment can come for you. Come for you when you least expect it, and the Lord knows how to get you. It's 2 Timothy 3:13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. People that are waxing worse. Fuck, seen this video where the cartel down there, they had like a flamethrower, and they're just burning up the people them. You know, that type of stuff is gonna happen over here. When they demonize the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, when that MOTB is made mandatory, when there's martial law, when there's curfew set in place, it's gonna be like the purge out here. You know, and all, at the end of the day, this is all judgment. You know, watching the video, and the man's getting flamed. These are the terrors that are coming to this world. You know, this is what's coming. People think Jake think it's a joke. Jake really thinks it's a joke, or Jake thinks everything's gonna get all good. Give it some time. Everything's gonna go back to normal. Nah, man, things are just getting more worse and worse. And the reason why it's getting worse and worse is because Esau knows he's got a short time. Esau knows his time to rule is coming to an end, and that's why and that's why we're telling Jake, get right now. Those of us who are in the truth, that's why our apostles and our elders, and our bishops, been pushing, do the work. We got to do it. The times that we're living in are serious. No, we don't want to get caught up in this shit. We need the mercy of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It's Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. So you gotta do the work now. Repent now. Don't wait till, you know, don't wait till things get crazy to wanna seek Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, or the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because there are few. You know, things are gonna get things, and you're sure you're seeing this right now. Things are already getting, to that point. Layoffs, the economy is horrible. You know, Jake is just getting more wicked. You know, this is the time we're in. The grinders cease because there are few. And those that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music shall be brought low. That's going into the music. It's garbage right now. You know, just it's terrible, and that just points, to the end. We're coming to the end. Yahweh Shai is getting ready to return. So get right now. Don't wait. Yeah, here it is. You go to Mexico, you think it's all good. You get caught up in that judgment. And who knows? We already know these cartels are. We already know the cartels are funded by. We know where they get their weapons from. We know. Same way how the same the drugs and shit, how they get into America. We know who funds that. So at the end of the day, it's these elites, that are there, that are, orchestrating all this, stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring this out. Like it said in the article, that it could escalate. Things could get real, real bad down there in Mexico. And where's Mexico? That right beside Babylon the Great. So it could, chaos could spill over into America. Where America could send their troops out down there. Just to judge. Just to judge. Just to play a part in the Lord's judgment. So that's gonna do it for this video. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakach Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and safety to all the Akim out there pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth. To the hopeful elect out there, Shalom. And I pray this lesson was edifying. And until the next one, Shalom.